And we're back with Governor Dannel Malloy. This is Ask the Governor. I'm Chief Capital Correspondent Mark Davis. Let's go right back to your questions. Anonymous always gets a few questions on these shows. Anonymous says, why doesn't the government do anything about gas gouging? Some stations are raising prices 2 or more times a day.
Wow. You know, we don't actually have many regulatory tools to use in that marketplace, but I'll talk to, we do have a working group led by Dan Esty, who is currently the head of DEP, but soon to be Energy and Environmental Protection. We do have a working group looking at the gas price issue, and next time I see Anonymous, I'll tell them about it.
You were born and raised in Stamford. The price is always higher down there.
By about 20 cents a gallon.
Right, and the companies say that there's zone pricing because of it costs more to operate in Stamford than it does, for example, in Groton or somewhere else.
Personally, I don't buy that.
You don't buy it?
I don't buy it.
Okay.
I think that's gouging. What they're doing there is gouging. It comes into ports throughout the state, and the additional amount that the wholesaler is charging has nothing to do with what the cost of operating a gas station is.
Next question is from James in Danbury. Why spend state money or any money on a futile high-speed rail system between New Haven and Springfield, Massachusetts?
Why is it futile? In fact, let me say this, that it's a far less expensive way to move people than adding a lane to 91 or to any other way to improve the flow of traffic. Additionally, this will be a gigantic economic boom to many of the communities who will see their stations come back, commutation traffic being brought back to the centers of towns. It really is going to be the economy of Connecticut's future.
And the chances are good that more money is coming from the federal government?
I'm feeling pretty good.
Here's another question from Anonymous. I don't know how he got 2 questions, but anyway. How efficient do you believe that the bus route between Hartford and New Britain will be, and why? This is the dedicated lane of road for the bus.
There are about 7,000 people who use buses currently. We believe that this...
Where, sir? Between New Britain and Hartford?
New Britain, well, on the I-84 corridor.
Right.
We believe that this could increase that traffic to about 16,000 passengers. If you assume that most of those people come out of single occupancy vehicles, what it's going to do is eliminate about 2/3 of the congestion on I-84 for morning commutation. Again, it's far less expensive than adding additional lanes on I-84 or building better connector systems, road systems, into I-84.
Well, why not do rail there? Some of the critics of this busway have said that it's $60 million a mile for the busway. It would be a lot less to just improve the rail line.
Oh, and I think in the long run, if you're talking about a Waterbury to Bristol to Hartford, I'm in agreement with that. That's why I'm putting over $1 million into the budget to actually do the early work. But that money for that project doesn't exist in Washington right now. The money for the bus project does. This project's been worked on for 14 years. The money is in place. We've already spent about $60 million. It's time to get this thing built, put people to work to build it, but ultimately to put more people on the system using buses to get in and out of Hartford.
Okay, now, do we have time for question 10? Is that right? Okay. This is from Mark in Old Lyme. Is the governor confident that no jobs will be lost and taxpayers won't just end up covering the costs of passing Senate Bill 1176? This is the energy generating tax that would be highest on the Millstone nuclear power complex. They say it would be about $330 million a year, and it would make the plant economically unfeasible, and they'd shut it down.
Well, I'm not sure they would shut it down because they would have the stranded costs of the plant to begin with. Having said that, that's not my tax. It's not a tax that I have publicly supported, nor is it a tax that I think is going to come out of the legislature.
But are you interested in it? I've had a member of the Energy Committee tell me he thinks you're interested in it because it does generate a lot of money.
I don't. What I put forward a 0.2 cent tax. I think you might see that get slightly higher. That would generate about $50 million. That's the tax I put forward, not a $300 million tax.
So would you veto this bill?
I don't think it's coming that way.
You don't think it's coming?
I don't think it's coming.
Coming to you. All right. And next question. Is that right? Okay, John in Hamden. He says, rather than abolish the death penalty, why can't you limit the appeals process?
first of all, I can't abolish it unless the legislature sends a bill to do that.
Right.
So I have no power.
They appear to be on track to do that.
And that brings me back to something that I spent most of the summer and fall talking about. I don't believe that there's any connection between the existence of the death penalty and lowering crime. If there was, Texas would be the safest state in the nation and have the fewest homicides, and it doesn't. And we know that we've put people to death wrongly. We've made many, many mistakes, and that's a bell you can't unring. And we also know that it has been disproportionately applied to people along racial lines. For all of those reasons and others, I don't believe it's the right thing for our state.
Do you know that there's a coalition of Republicans and Democrats in this building who would like to put together an amendment to make the appeals process go faster so the existing law would actually work faster?
Yeah, you know what, I don't think that set of proposals actually works and would do that. As you know, we have people on death row in Connecticut for 20 years and more now. The law as it exists has not worked. It costs us about twice as much to have a prisoner on death row as it would to sustain him without the possibility of parole in a jail.
All right. This is Ask the Governor, and coming up on News 8 at 5:30, it's one of the most talked about bills of the legislative season, but will hopes of it becoming law go up in smoke?